So first thing to understand how the time frames works for price action. What time frames do we use and why we use them? That seems to be a very interesting part for traders that are into other systems for whatever reason. And from our experience, my experience trading with price action, we go through basically all the time frames to understand the price activity through time. You cannot get too blind with 5 minutes or 15 minutes when you first start analyzing the market situation of the day. So the first thing I do is go into 4-hour, in the 4-hour to set up the market areas. We're gonna know how to set up the market areas, what a market area is, how to identify a market area, and then we're gonna start slowly going towards the 15 minutes and then the 5 minutes time frame, because you start getting into the entry, seeing the market in the 15 minutes and maybe the 5 minutes. You can go down to 5 minutes if you want to, but we don't use 1 minute. That will get you totally blind from the price, the pure price activity. And 1 hour is already too much. So the between the 15 minutes and 5 minutes is perfect to find the price confirmations that we need. In 5 minutes, we follow up the entry. And this is very, very important that you understand at this point that we have to ignore volatility. We have to deal volatility, yes, and that can get you out of your nerves, out of your balance, and very easy way. Okay, so the maturity of the psychology here is very important. But once you get enough confidence with price action, you won't get any nerve touched with volatility. You're going to know how to deal with volatility, because actually price action contemplates also volatility around the entry that we place in the market. Okay, so for our time frames, we're going to understand how the market areas works, where you have the buyer market area, the seller market area. And then in 1 hour, we check on the previous market opening and closing prices. In 1 hour, we check if you're in Europe, how the Asian markets were behaving, but you won't use Asia information trading as much. We're going to focus from Europe and the US. So if you are in Europe, you're going to be using the first 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes information of price activity to set up your strategy on that specific market hours. We're going to talk about what market hours we're going to use. We're going to talk about also fundamentals, how we trade fundamentals. But here, I want to make sure that you understand that we don't trade 1 minute, that will get you blind, and we don't use 1 hour because that's already too much. So if the scalping that we are going to learn how to do is between 15 minutes to look for the right confirmations, and then the 5 minutes to follow up the entry that we are going to have. What is a price confirmation? What is a price expiration? And all of that we're gonna talk about later. And volatility, one more time, is one of the things that we have to deal with a very specific mindset when it comes to price action, because we're gonna have times where we have the confirmation, we place the trade, and volatility will just go all over the place. And we're going to know how to actually move with the correct use of stop loss, which I don't use stop loss. I expire the trade, or I have the stop loss just all the way below or above, just not to get frustrated with stop loss. You need to know how to use it if you're going to use it. Most of the times I ignore it. I just get out of the trade before the broker get me the stop loss. Honestly, that's the way I do it, and I've been doing it, and I'll teach you how to do it also. Stop loss is something that you don't want to be dealing with too much, because you know volatility. We work on the opening hours. You don't want to get caught on a stop loss and then your trade being positive after 2 minutes or a minute. Okay, so deal with volatility is very important. So you have to focus on the price that you have the entry and understanding the fluctuation of the price around your price confirmation is totally okay, totally normal. And you should not get caught in a stop loss situation every time. And I've been training traders to manage their emotions correctly, so you don't get too caught up with the stop loss situation, and then after, I don't know, maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes later, your trade was at the target, because I've seen that all the time. But here you're gonna understand and you're gonna know how not to be on that situation. Okay, so 15 minutes and 5 minutes is the perfect time frames to work with price action. 1 hour is to check on the previous activity. If you are in the US, you're going to use 1 hour to see how the Europe opened, how the Europe 2 hours opening are going on, and then you're going to go for 15 minutes and below to go for the next market, which is the US. So depending on where you are, I don't know who is listening to this, so I don't know if you're going to be in Europe, what a 1 hour analysis on price activity, or in the US. If you're in the US, use Europe as a reference. If you are in Europe, then you're all by yourself, because Europe is the boss in price action. Europe is leading everything except on the index on the US, of course, but leads all the activity for the rest of the day, European markets. We're going to know how to deal also with that information. I'll see you in the next video.